Okay, we're starting the Ezra Hashem Siman Ayin test in Vayol Moshe. And this is the Siman we've all been waiting for all this time to answer up all the kashas that we've been asking since the beginning of the Sefer.
Like?
Everything about why is it a shvua, why is it not the Oiver Basei, and starting from Siman Aleph basically, all the questions that we had are going to be dealt with here. The question about Rashi, the first one he's going to talk about is the question about Rashi, that Rashi says that it's the shvua shelo yichus haketz is not to daven too much, right? Okay, and the problem with that was that the Medrash says that the yichus haketz is an action. So why did Rashi say tefillah instead of an action? So that question will be the first one online to answer. But before we do that, we're going to finish what we were talking about in Ayin Ches. In Ayin Ches, the Rebbe established that the shvua shelo yichus haketz is really kfira. So really, you don't need a shvua for it. And the whole point of the shvua was just to add on an oynish. So now he's going to ask a kasha on that from the Gemara and Soita. Aval adayin tzarich lahavin. We have to still understand. We have a kasha on what we just said. Shahari omru b'Gemara Soita daf lamed zayin amud beis. Gemara says in Soita ayud aleph arurim. You know, in the Parshas Kisavoi, it says Aru ho'ish asher ya'aseh pesel masecha. Cursed is the man who makes an idol and worships it. Shenamru bahar grizim v'har eval. That they were said when the Yidden came into Eretz Yisrael. Some of them went to Har Grizim, some of them went to Har Eval, and the Levim faced one of them and said, Baruch ho'ish asher lo ya'aseh, and then they said Aru ho'ish ya'aseh. So the question is, Aru ho'ish asher ya'aseh pesel masecha, but Aru sagile. So the Gemara asks, what's this thing that a person does avoid zara? It's just enough to give him an Aru. Aru is the only thing. Cursed is the only thing that's wrong with avoid zara. Avoid zara is much bigger over. So the Gemara says, Elazeh, what's the case? Elazeh ba'alo erva v'hoilid ben. It's not talking about someone who really did avoid zara. It's talking about someone who was mezana with an erva v'hoilid ben, and she had a baby. V'holach leveinu akum. This son is a mamzer, so he's kicked out of the Jewish people. And he went to the nations, not really kicked out, but he felt embarrassed, I guess we're going to say. He didn't get along, he can't get married, So he felt very out of place among the Jews, so he went to the Goyim, and he did avodah zarah. Okay? So Arurim Avi v'Imoy shel zeh shekach garmu loi. That the father and mother who created this mamzer were the ones who caused this avodah to happen. So it's not talking about someone who actually did avodah zarah, it's talking about someone who caused avodah zarah.
Because a mamzer, has limited who he can marry among his Klal Yisrael, so that's why.
Upirish Rashi Zal. Rashi explains, but Ar Sagile, the Gemara's kasha was, it's only enough to be Ar, but Tmiya. It's a kasha. Kaifer be'ikerhu. This guy, he did avoid his Ar, he's Kaifer be'iker. V'sagile ba'ar, it's enough just to give him a curse. Ela habalo erva v'hoilid mamzer. Umitoich boishtoi, Dr. Rashi, it's because he's embarrassed to be a mamzer, that he didn't want to be among Jews, and then Sha'asi Lava because not allowed to marry a Jewish woman. Hoilach leveinu akum. That's why he went among the nations and did avoid his Ar. So Arurim Eila, that's why the parents are cursed. Sha'aso uhu la avoid pesel masechot. They caused him to worship the idol. Okay. That the word Arur, the Gemara in Shvuah says that Arur is a lashon of Shvuah. Arur is not stam just a word. It means something. It means that the person has nidui, he's excommunicated, and he's klal, he has a curse. And by Shvuah it includes an oath. And oaths are very chomer, like we said in the previous Siman. Oaths have a special severity that the oynish is chal right away.
It seems Arur giver, asher yiftach b'adam. So again, it's like swearing. A person who trusts a man he's very cursed.
So mikol makom loy sagile b'teretz zeh. The Gemara wasn't happy with that answer. The Gemara, in other words, the Gemara could have answered like what the Rebbe answered in Ayin Ches. The Gemara could have answered, in the Chanami avodah zarah, it's a big aveira, but we needed the Arur to add on the oynish. So why didn't the Gemara answer that? So vice versa, no, the Gemara didn't want to say that teretz. Just to add on a curse for oynish for chol chumras, to add on all the chumras of it. So why takanat? You have to say the kivan shehi kfir beikar. Since avodah zarah is denying Hashem, shechomer mikol aver shevatoyer, and it's a very, very severe sin. So imam loy stam b'lashon arur, if the Torah would just say that this person is cursed, hu maktines to avera, that would be decreasing the sin. So obviously you can't say what we said in Ayin Ches. V'ayin marsha sham. Take a look at the Marsha on the Gemara in Saita. Shabir HaKavana, the Orur Mashma Orur B'Olam Hazeh. That why is Orur not enough for someone who worships idols? Because Orur is Mashma only cursed in this world. That if someone does avodah zarah, they lose Olam Haba too. The Murma La'akum have the Murma L'chol Torah Kula. Someone who does avodah zarah is like he's over on all the whole Torah. She'ein Lo Chelak L'Olam Haba. That's why the Gemara asks, is it enough just to have a curse? You have to say that even though it's true that there is an addition, when someone gets an oath on top of something, it adds on a more severity to the punishment, right? But that's why the Torah added on the word Orur, to add on a punishment to the sin. Gam b'olam hazeh, to even get b'olam hazeh, because the Marsha is saying that real avodah zarah is the oynish is only in olam haba, and Orur is olam hazeh. So so then we understand why it added on the oynish, but obviously that wasn't good enough for the Gemara, because even though it's adding on an oynish, even in olam hazeh, the Gemara wasn't happy answering up the pasuk that way. Why should the Torah just writes plain Orur, so it's mashma, it's only Orur. Right? The Torah didn't tell you that something that's kfir, avodah zarah, is much worse than a shvua. V'arurim hein be'etzem ha'avoin, that someone who doesn't avodah zarah is cursed for his sin itself without any shvua. Because the sin has to do with emunah. V'gam b'olam haba, who that he gets a bigger punishment in olam haba, shemafsi kol chelko b'olam haba, and he'll lose his whole chelik in olam haba. So if we would have said just a plain shvua or plain orur, someone could make a mistake. B'stimas lashon hakasu. Just reading the pasuk itself, someone can make a mistake and say, okay, avodah zarah is just a curse. That's it, nothing worse than that. And they'll decrease the severity of this avera of denying Hashem. Rahman al-Itzlan. Zulas im nichlal be'oisai ha'arur gam eze inyan she'ein boy kfira be'ikr. That you have to say that something else was included. So unless we can say that something else is included, it would have been misleading just to say Arur. But once the Gemara adds on that something else was included, what was that thing that was included? What was included? We just said that someone who has a baby that's a mamzer and the mamzer goes and does avodah zarah. So that extra thing is what's the Arur. But the Arur, avada the Arur goes on avodah zarah too. Just we're saying that since it's including something else that's not as bad, that's why it's enough to say Arur. Okay. Something that doesn't have fear. These parents weren't kaifer. They just gave in to their taiva. Yeah. So now we understand the language. That's why the Torah just says Ar. We have to say, the Gemara had to say that the Torah included in it even someone who doesn't do avodah zarah. He just caused his baby to do avodah zarah. Ayin sham. Okay. So, but we're still going to have a kasha on what we said by the shalosh shvuos, because by the shalosh shvuos, what are we adding on? We're not adding anything on. We're just saying it's a bigger punishment. But if you just say a shvua, someone can make a mistake and think it's only a shvua. Not only that, the Zionists go even further. They make a mistake; they think the whole thing is not even a halacha. Okay, but we're not talking about that. But even if you understand that it's a shvua, you might think it's only a shvua. So l'chayr, this teretz not a teretz.
Well, we just hold a bigger variance to break a shvua anyhow.
It's an aveira, but it's not as bad as
everybody gets punished. Hashem doesn't absolve it, so it's not something. It's only a shvua.
Not something.
Clearly, they know how severe it is
to mess around with. But it's not something to mess around with. But the point he's making is that if something is really kfira, then you're not going to just put a shvua on it just for the oynish, because that's misleading.
Yeah.
So we're back to the kasha that we had in the previous siman.
Because even avodah zarah, you tell you the part, because avodah zarah is the biggest lie of all.
Okay, that avada, if you say that even someone who causes the baby to be born, it's a mamzer and they're going to go do avodah zarah, even such a person has arur, so certainly someone who actually does avodah zarah that he also gets the curse. El Shalom b'lashon zeh. That why did the Torah say the lashon are? That it's going back on also on the person who does this news that causes the son to be born. V'imkein gam b'shvua zu shekasav amaral. So now it's going to be kasha again on what we're talking about in Ayin Ches, on this shvua that the Maharal talks about. Shehu b'yahar v'al yavar. This shvua that the Maharal says, that we said in the previous sentence, Yahar v'al yavar, kedin meshumad, shebavada ef shaloimer shehu b'shvil ister hashvua. We can't say that the reason why a person has to let himself be killed is just because of the shvua. Obviously, we need the whole Sefer Vayel Moshe up to this point to explain that it's not just a shvua, it's kfir. It must be the Maharal holds that taking a geula on her own, hu kfir beikar. That's kfir. So v'imkein kasha al masha omar hishbati eschem v'ani materis b'sarchem. So we're back to the question: why does it have to add on an oath? Right? It's enough just to have an oath. Oath is only in this world. This person who's going taking the geula before it's time is koifer beikar. So ve'ein loich gam chelik l'olam haba. He loses olam haba too. Kekush is a Gemara ba'aru. Asher yaseh pesel masechem. Like the same kasha the Gemara asked in Soita by the person who does avodah zarah. So the efsher shemach meskush zu ra Rashi zal. Now we're going to get to the Rashi. These two kashas answer each other up. Now if the kasha was, why did Rashi say that the shvua goes even on not davening too much? And now he's adding a new question, that why do we need a shvua b'chlal? And if you just needed to add on to the oynish, then the Gemara in Soita says that's not a good teretz because it's going to be misleading. So the answer is, both these kashas answer each other up. Now what are we saying? The Rashi was moisif now, lahoisif lafarish the koi gam ala marba b'tachnunim yoistim midai. That the shvua is going even on somebody who davens too much for the gula. Shezev vada einu kfir beikar. That's not kfir if you daven too much. The av shahayu pesuchim lefanav kol midrashos. Even though Rashi knew all the midrashos, the koi that the shvua is going on aloine oisim maisim, people who do actions shaloikhim gula miatzmum, take the gula on their own. Koi the mazman. Shahoivrim ala shvuas ha'eluf. This is Medrash Rabban and Shir Shirim. Gam b'shas loy nimsa the koi al mar b'tachnunim. And we don't find any source for Rashi's pshat that it's going on davening too much. Ela adrabah. No, on the contrary, we find a kasha on Rashi. In Siman Lamed, Siman Chavtes, he asked on Rashi, l'choy raya lehepich. You have a raya the other way. Me'uvda Reb Chia uvanov. But there was a story with Reb Chia and his sons who davened for the geula. The Rebbe brought them down to daven for the Amud on a tainus, and the geula almost came, and Hashem sent down Aliyah to stop them. So why did he do that? Because they were davening too much before the time. But l'choy, you see, it was allowed to do it. You don't see that they did an aveir by doing it. Okay, you could say that they learned up from the story that it was aser, but pashtus from the story you see that it's mutter. So why did Rashi say something that l'choy there's a raya against? But the answer is because Rashi didn't want to explain the shvua just going on action. Just on actions to shehem kfir beikar, actions that show that a person is koifer in Hashem's hashgacha because he's going and doing it on his own. Kekush is like Gemara b'Soita because Rashi had shver this kasha in the Gemara in Soita. Is that enough for him just to get a shvua? That's why Rashi had to explain the koi al marba b'tachnunim, that it's going on someone who davens too much. Because that's not being koifer, because he believes he's davening. Right? That obviously even Rashi agrees that that the shvua includes something that's a real action. Shehem gam kfir beikar. That there's already kfir beikar, it's already aser, and the shvua is coming l'tois v'soinish to add on to the punishment. Sheyesh be'ister shvua loyal l'chol kula, like the more on shvua stach lamates, that it's the ister to the punishment to the whole world. But still, it said it in the language of an oath. The mashma the sagi lebachach. It's mashma. There is a case where you're only going to get the punishment, the sin of an oath. So what's that case? Because it's going on a case where a person doesn't mamish do kfira. He doesn't actually do an action. He just davens too much. That's also called forcing the end. Okay, so now we understand that Rashi, why Rashi has to say this pshat, that davening too much is included in the shvua. Okay, we're holding Be'ez Hashem in the middle of Siman and tests. And we're by the paragraph that starts Umiyushav Bozeh, on page Tzadik K, the first column. Now, what we were talking about was Rashi's shita that Dechikas HaKetz means Tefillah V'Tachanunim. So, throughout the Sefer we had Shver, what was the Gvul, how much Tefillah V'Tachanunim is Aser, and secondly, that Rashi's against all the Midrashim. The Midrashim are mashma that it's actions and not Tefillahs. So, what he wanted to answer here was that Rashi had to be moisif something that's not really Aser except for the Shvuah. Because if it's only going on actions are something that's Aser anyway. Because it's a kvir dika thing to do something in action in an inyan that's only Hashem's inyan. So, therefore Rashi held that the Shvuah has to be moisif something that's not already Aser. And that was davening too much. So that's where Rashi was moisif. But Rashi didn't mean to say that it's not including actions, he just meant that it's also including tefillas. Okay. Now the paragraph starting Miyushav. Miyushav bazeh gam akusha haloi ein shvua chala al shvua. That there's a kasha that he never really asked this kasha anywhere in the Sefer in this way, but the kasha is that if you have one shvua, you can't impose another shvua on top of that shvua. So, for example, all the torah, everything in the torah is mushpa b'oim and mahar Sinai. So
how can there be a concept of another shvur to begin with?
What do you mean? The Torah has such a concept as shvur. You can ask something on yourself with a shvur. Let's
in addition,
right? But let's say you would go and say, "I'm asking myself on chazer." Well, it's already aster. It's already aster. So mushpa b'oim, so the shvur is not chal. So if you do eat the chazer, you only get one set of malchus. So, therefore, the kasha is over here too. Since actions to force the end of exile is already aster, so what's this thing of a shvur? How could the shvur take effect on another shvur? Now in Siman Chav Zayin, the Rebbe asked a similar kasha, but not exactly this kasha. In Siman Chav Zayin, take a look. Very short Siman. He says that Rashi has another girsa shelo yirachaku esakei, not to push away the end. So he says, Rashi says ba'avoinam, not to push it away with their sins. So the question was, which sins? If it means regular averis, like in the whole Torah, so then he says the im kavanase al kol Torah kula shelo yasu avoina shekula ma'akvim misagula, because all avoinas push away the gula. Then al zek var mushbaim v'oimdim anachnu mehar Sinai. We're already commanded, and with a shvua shelo lavar al shum davar me'at Torah k'dosha ve'en shvua chal al shvua. So the shvua can't go on another shvua. So he asked the kasha l'gabe the shvua shelo yirachaku, if you hold that girsa. But now we're going on the girsa shelo yidchaku, and he's saying the same kasha that if it's aser anyway, then what's the shvua going to take effect? Yeah. Uma sheyesh boy. Now back to Aites. Uma sheyesh boy minus the kvira rachman litzvan al kol zek kvar on mushboim v'on mihar Sinai. There's already a shvua on that. V'su loy chala al zeh shvua acher. So it can't be chal any other shvua on top of that. That's the kasha. But you can imagine now what he's going to answer, because Rashi just said that the shvua is going on something that's anyway mutter, tefillah v'tachanunim. So now it's being coiled something new. And when you coil something new, the din is that an oath could be chal on another oath. If you take an oath, let's say not to eat any products from animals, right? And it includes obviously things that are aser and things that are mutter. So now that shvua takes effect even on things that are aser.
Really?
Yeah.
If somebody makes sure I'll never eat meat, he'll get double for eating pig?
Right. Exactly.
Where do we know this rule?
The Gemara in the beginning of the 8th parak of Yuma says it.
Right.
Okay. B'koilo dvarim hamutarim and dvarim asurim. That's the Lashon Gemara. Okay, let's take a look now. Aval amru kvar b'Gemara shvuas daf chav beis. This is what he's going to say. Shvuas daf chav beis v'oid b'chama duchti many other places. The b'koilo dvarim hamutarim even dvarim asurim. If you include things that are permitted together with the things that are asur in your shvua, then you say like this: Migu dechayla shvua al dvarim hamutarim. Just like the shvua is chal on the things that are mutter, chal nami al dvarim asurim. It's chal also on the things that are aser. V'im kein gam buzeh. We say the same word here. Kiven the chal al marbe b'tachanunim. Since the shvua goes on someone who davens too much, shehu davra mutter, which is something that's mutter, that would have been mutter. So chal nami al oisim maisim b'foil. It goes also on the people who do actions shehu eser cham rachman al which would have been aser anyway. Umar de kasha l'choyra mirabenu hakadosh. Now back to a different kasha that we had throughout the sefer. Siman Chaf Tes brought down that how are you over on this thing of davening too much? You do what Rabbeinu HaKadosh did with Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda went to the Amud and they davened and the Gula almost came. Because you see their tefillah had the power to bring the Gula. So the question is, so if that's what's called the Chikas HaKetz, then how did Rabbi do it? So he says, Ma dekashal l'choyer me'Rabbeinu HaKadosh etziva Rabbi Yehuda v'lispala b'oifen sheyesh bo dechikas HaKetz k'moish Hashem Eliyahu, because he knew in advance. Bishlam they didn't know because maybe they didn't know their own power, but he heard from Aliyah Navi, Zichron Levracha, so he knew that that they were going to have that power. So why did he do it? It's against Rashi. V'af l'masha kasavti the efshar shel acher oisa ma'isa mishmayin isbar hapirish she'aser lasos kain. That it could be, he said in Siman Lamed, that could be that in the Chanami before the Maisa they didn't know that davening too much was aser. After the Maisa, that's when they learned what Rashi says, that it's aser. But in the beginning, what did they hold? They didn't hold that davening too much was aser. So what did they hold? Shat and the Chikas HaKetz was. So v'ula yesh loymar. But now we can say a different shot. The motzinu ladas Rav Yehuda. We find the shita of Rav Yehuda, b'soif Kesumas. Af yachid aser la'alois machmas elu hashvuos. That Rav Yehuda includes an individual in the Shalosh Shvuos. Rav Yehuda holds even one.
Rav Yehuda,
right? He holds that even an individual is not allowed to go to Eretz Yisrael bisman hazeh. And Rabbi Zeira argues on that. The story of Rabbi Levi. He holds like Rabbi Levi. The boy lay l'cholois na shvuos. He needs all of the shvuos. In other words, the first three, everybody agrees what they're for.
Yeah, we usually go like Rabbi Zeira when Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Zeira argue.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe so.
So, the first three, everyone agrees what they're for. The Ummah shouldn't be Meshabed Yisrael Yosim Rizai. Those are the first three. Everyone agrees on that. Then the last three that Rabbi Levi came to include, right? So that's where Rabbi Yehuda takes one of those and uses it for an individual. But Rabbi Zeira says, no, I used all three. What do I use it for? So the Chikas HaKetz, Shalo Yigalu Asoid, and Shalo Yigalu Asoid, Umas Oilam, and what's the third? Shalo Yigalu Asoid. So they shouldn't reveal the end of the time when the exile is going to end. Okay, so all those shvuos Rabbi Zeira uses, so he doesn't have an extra one left over for the individual. All right. V'ein sham shvul yachid v'im kain efsher. So now, according to this, we could say shahaya soiver Rebbe, that Rebbe held, who sent Reb Chia to daven for the Geula, the af she'ein shvua miyuchedes liyachid. Even though there's no single oath that's available, that's extra, and we can use it for an individual. Mikom makom nichlal be'isra shvua gam yachid ha'olah. Shein bozein shal kvira. That will be koilel in the shvua a yachid, even though it's not a special shvua. Because why? Because she'ein bozeh inyan shal kvira. Because a yachid going up to Eretz Yisrael has no kvira in it. It's only when the whole Jewish people goes up, or a large portion of them go up, then that's like ending the exile. But if you just go individually there, that's not kvira. So it's not aser. So ibazoi, that could be the thing that the shvu is coming to add. Just like we said in Rashi, that it's coming to add davening. So if you don't say like Rashi, you could say it's coming to add this. It's coming to add the individual. Okay, then we're coming to include something that's mutter. Now we don't have the kasha that Rashi was bothered by. So we don't have to say Rashi's teretz then, right? We don't have Rashi's kasha, so we don't have to say Rashi's teretz. So then we don't have to say that it's also the daven too much. And that's why Rebbe held that it was mutter the daven too much. When Rebbe found out afterwards that he made a mistake, and he found out that Aliyah came down to stop them, and they weren't allowed to daven too much, then su ein sarach loymar. So now we could say that the shvua comes to after the davening too much, and Mele Yachid falls away, and now it's mutter for a Yachid to go to Eretz Yisrael. That's the real psak halacha, that sheyachid mutter lalos, that a single person, a yid, is not allowed to go there to Yisrael. That's why Rashi says what he says. That's the maskana, that the shvua comes to include tachanunim. The havamina was it came to include a yachid. Okay, now the next part here was all added in the second printing. First printing of Vayal Moshe was just this. This was almost the end of the Siman. Basically, if you look way at the end of Ayin Tes, you'll see one little paragraph. Uvazeh Efsher Liyashiv. That was part of the original.
It's a long Siman.
Right, this very long Siman, but this part was the original end, and then everything in between was added in later. And the reason he added in later is because he had other terutzim on this kasha. You're going to see. There's other terutzim on the question of why Rashi said that it includes tefillah. Okay? Ko'es ala b'daiti. Now, by the second edition, I have a new pshat in Rashi. She'ef shelafarish divrei Rashi zal b'derech pashat yoiser. You have a more simple pshat in Rashi. Ma'aseh hutzrach levakish derech chadash b'shvua hashlishis. That why did Rashi have to come up with a new pshat in this third shvua of the Chikas HaKetz? The koy al marba b'tachanunim, that is going on someone who davens too much. The hinei kvar hevesi ma'shekasav Ramban. That I brought already the words of the Ramban in Siman Yud Beis. Brought down the Ramban that says that after when Galus Bavel ended, most of the Yidden stayed in Bavel. So the Ramban says Shaloi Ratzu Shar Hashvatim Lalois there it's Israel. Only the Shevet Yehuda went up, and the other Shvatim didn't want to come from Bavel back to Eretz Yisrael. B'mei Ezra. Why is up the Ramban? Shaloi Avu Lidchoy Kesaketz. They didn't want to push for the end of exile. Why? The end came already. Because Shiadua Haya Etzlam, because they knew Ki Pekida Shivim Shana LeBavel Namra V'Loy Alehem, that the revisitation, that when Hashem came back and gave Koresh the inspiration to let the Yidden come back, that was only said for the Yidden in Bavel itself, but not in the other Medinas.
Right, Yirmiyah only, that's who Yirmiyah said. It was only Yirmiyah's Nevuah, not Nevuah to Yeshua.
Right, and that Nevuah said Bavel. The Bavel Shivim Shana. So the other Medinas, the other 126 Medinas of Achashverosh, those didn't have the Pekida, so they didn't come up. Okay? V'nis kashesi lama amar shalei avu lidchoik esaketz. The kasha was the Ramban's lashon. The Ramban used the words they didn't want to force the end. Haloi zu shvu acheres. Why did the Ramban say? The Ramban should have said they didn't want to be oila b'chayma. Why did he say shalei avu lidchoik esaketz? Haloi zu shvu acheres milvada shvu shel Aliyah b'chayma. That's a different shvu. V'hasam mayri mi Aliyah b'chayma. The Ramban's really discussing Aliyah b'chayma here. V'nitchakti l'taretz. And in Siman Yud Beis, the Rebbe had shared this kasha, and he tried to answer that b'shvil shekol elu hashvuos heim mitam echad. That really all the shvuos are because of one reason, which is shaloi l'idchok hisaketz, not to force the end of Galus. Aval adayin sarchian, but it's still not so geshmak, because the kiven de Gemara chilkem etarti, the Gemara splits it up into two different shvuos. V'lamdu mikra shnei shvuos. They learn out from two different psukim, two different shvuos. So lama shina haramban lashna Gemara. Why did the Ramban change? Why did he deviate from the words of the Gemara? The karush shvuazu Aliyah b'chayma, that they called this thing of immigration to Eretz Yisrael Aliyah b'chayma. Why did the Ramban call it a different name? There's another shvuah to ask the dechikas, not this shvuah. V'nir bazeh. But now we can say a different teretz on this. The hinei kvar vesi shalashon Aliyah b'chayma ein a lashon mevurah. But basically what he's going to say, I'll just say in advance, he's going to say that Aliyah b'chayma really is dechikas HaKetz, and dechikas HaKetz is Aliyah b'chayma. They're one and the same thing. Because any action that forces for the end of exile is called Aliyah b'chayma and dechikas HaKetz. It's the same thing. And that's why Rashi had to say that dechikas HaKetz is being moisif something new, because otherwise it's already included in Aliyah b'chayma. Let's take a look inside. The kvar hevesi shalashon Aliyah b'chayma ain't a lashon mevurah. The lashon of Aliyah b'chayma is not so clear what it means. Vehevesi I brought mikama mekaymes b'divrei Chazal shepirshu al lashon b'chayma b'leifanim shonim. In Siman Yud, he brought down that Chazal explained chayma in different ways. Take a look at Siman Yud. If you recall, I'm sure you remember, but just look at it to refresh your memories. Siman Yud. That he started out with a three-way question. What does Aliyah b'chayma mean? First of all, it could be Aliyah shel kanufia gedola b'yachad, a large group. Second possibility, Aliyah shel roi b'Yisrael, most of the Jewish people. And the third possibility was Aliyah shel milchama, forcing your way in with milchama. So then, he brought down the Gemara in Yuma Daf Tes. It says that Reish Lakish says that im chayma hi im asisem atzmeichem gechayma. If the Jews would have been like a wall in the time of Ezra, then it would have been good. So, but they didn't. So you see, whatever they did in the time of Ezra was not chayma. Whatever that large group of 42,000 Jews, it wasn't a chayma. Okay, but Basar Daf Ches, the plea Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish pasuk ani chayma. Rabbi Yochanan said chayma zu torah. Reish Lakish said chayma zu Knesset Yisrael. Rashi says it means assimilation. It means to hold yourself back from mixing with the goyim. So it has a lot of different meanings. That's what he wanted to show from those Gemaras. So the question is, what does it mean here? So, Gam b'masha pirshu aliyah meruba. Even with those places where Chazal do say that chayma means aliyah meruba, large scale immigration, biyacha together, einu mavur hashir. We don't see how much is too much. Kama nikra meruba. She'iyef shalom she'aster la'alois kiyim biyachid mamish. You can't say that anything more than one person is aster. V'imkein sarach leda hashir shal meruba. You have to know what's too much. Uv'yafei kol kasav atam. The Reb Shmuel Bar Rabbi Yitzchak Yafa of on the Pirush on the Medrash, Yefei Kol, says the reason why it's aser to be ala b'chayma is because the b'masha anu mishpoim shelo alas b'chayma the kiven da Hashem pizaranu since Hashem was the one who scattered us b'kanvas arts ein lanu rishus these kabets we don't have the rishus to gather ourselves together. V'liyos kechayma to go up like a wall lalos yachal eretz Yisrael ad sheyikabtzenu Hashem al yidei Mashiach until Hashem gathers us through Mashiach. Gam befarish achar b'yafei kol. He also says later that Masha Omer b'medrash Rabasham achar shevi Yeshua shelo yalu b'chayma min hagoyla. The medrash adds on im kain lo melech hamashiach ba lekabetz gol yisein shel Yisrael, and he learns that the question mark is at the end of a sentence. So he says im kain, if you're going to be over on the shvua, then why does melech hamashiach come lekabetz gol yisein shel Yisrael? Okay, Upirish Bazeh, Im Yalu Chayim Min Hagoyla Lama Yitztarach Melech HaMashiach Lavar Lekabetz Yitchei Yisrael. Umikiva the Kaim Alon. Since we know the Melech HaMashiach Yikabetz Yitchei, that it's Melech HaMashiach going to do the job, we come a cry from many Pesukim. Im Kain Ein Biyadenu Lis Kabetz Min Atzmeinu Yachad. Ad Kan L'Shoynoi. Therefore, since Mashiach is going to do it, we can't do it. Yuyan Sham. So we're getting we're starting to get a feeling for what the Aliyah B'Chayim means. It means something that Mashiach is going to do. If we do it before Mashiach does it, we're being over on that. Okay? That the meaning of the Shvuah of Chayma is to do something that you're not allowed to do before the time. Something that's going to be done by Mashiach. That's the meaning of the pasuk. Don't wake up the love before its time. What does it mean? Don't awaken the geula terem sheba chifetz mi Hashem yisbarach, before the desire from Hashem has come. U'geula v'kibbutz galius chadahu. The idea of geula and gathering the exiles is the same idea. U'kemoy shehu b'medrash ala kasiv yadoya teda. That the pasuk says yadoya teda kigeri yezaracha. And the Medrash says yadoya sha'ani mefazron. Know that I'm the one who scatters them. Teda shani mechanston. I'm the one who gathers them in. Yadoya shani memashkanon. I'm the one who puts them in as a mashkon. Like I hold them captive. Teda shani porkan. I'm the one who redeems them. Yadoya shani meshabdon. Teda shani goylam. I make them like slaves, like submissive to the goyim. And Teda shani goylam. I'm the one who gets them out. Hinei. It puts all the gula together in one basket here. The kibbutz galius together, they're all dependent on one another. So, even though Rashi adds on the yad chazaka, and some have wanted to say that Rashi means that it means a military assault, right? But anything less than military is mutter. But that's not true because now in Siman,
because Yachad Chazak is not a lashon of doing action. Chazak is a lashon of what's in essence strong.
Right.
But it doesn't imply action.
Right. So
that's like Kli Chazak, Eitz Chazak, Bayis Chazak.
Right.
Not Bayis Gibor, Kli Gibor, Eitz Gibor.
Right.
So if you're Yachad Biyad Gibora, then we could say that.
Right. That's a very good point.
The Malbim says that in HaKarmel and explaining Hebrew words.
So in Tes Zion, he brought the Avnei Nezer, who says that Aliyah with permission is not called Biyad Chazaka. Now that could be true, but it has to be an Aliyah that's not a independence kind of aliyah. He's going to say in this paragraph that we're talking about, it's a very easy way to remember it. He says, it can't be b'derech cheiris, it has to be b'derech geiris. So don't go as free men, as your own people, as your independent state. Go b'derech geiris. Go as a stranger in the land, someone who's invited in by the ruling power.
And the other raya is that chazak can't be a lashon of war. From the pasuk halachach elokim goyim mikarev goyim, but also b'yad chazaka. So clearly, very very clearly, you can't have both these means the same thing.
Right, so that's what he's about to say in this paragraph.
Which only proves the Malvin says further, because chazak is a lashon of an essence strong, not in action.
Right, so in Tes Zayin he brought a raya from the pasuk at the end of Shmois. It says, "B'yad chazaka yishalchem, b'yad chazaka yigarshem mi'artzoi." So he said that there Paro is going to kick the Jews out of Mitzrayim. He's going to do it with Muhammad. No,
he didn't. He told them to leave.
He asked them to leave. He begged them.
Which is why there was no forceful action.
Right, so
which proves the point. Which is why there was no forceful action.
But over here he's going to go a step further. He's going to say that even without forcing with words. And there he's saying that Yad Chazaka means forcing with words. If you go with words and you beg the UN for a Medina, all right, that's called Hatzaras Dvarim, that's called Yad Chazaka. Now he's going to say that even without that, even if they give you complete permission to go in, but if you go in b'derech cheiris, if you go in like your own independent people, then it's aser. Take a look. Masha Kosev Rashi's al b'yad chazaka hu al derech shehu b'kra b'parshas Boaz-Chana. The pasuk you just brought, Oy hanisa Elokim lavoy lokachas goy mikarev goy, right? Oisus moisim milchama u'b'yad chazaka. So war and yad chazaka. So obviously not the same thing, right?
So the Torah never repeats the same. No two things mean the same thing at once in the Torah. It can't be.
Right. So Shapirish Harab Avram ben Ezra, biyad chazaka sheyatzu Yisrael. The Ibn Ezra, right? Sheyatzu Yisrael biyad Rama. That, like the Torah says in Bishalach, that they went out with a high hand, not war.
High doesn't mean high. This. It means like up.
Yeah, with pride, not sneaking out. Uve parshas b'shalach ala kasu v'yad Rama. On that pasuk in the beginning of B'Shalach, Pirish Ibn Ezra, lo yatsu kedmus barchim. They didn't go out like sneaking out, like
barchim flee, like running away from.
Like running away. V'haya imaim kol klei v'chama. They had them with them weapons. They didn't use the weapons, but they had them. They were holding them proudly. V'hu al derech shapirish atargum.
There was a custom in the old days to lift up one hand as pride, or to lift up a staff or something chashuv as a sign of pride.
Right, okay. The Hu al derech shapir shatargum bereish gali. The Targum says on that pasuk b'yad Rama with a reish gali means an uncovered head. It means pride. It's a lashon of pride. Ukvar arachti lamayla bekavanas divrei Rashi zal mashakos b'yad chazaka. I talked about it before in Siman Tes Zayin. But al kapanim, what we're saying here is that even if it's not with begging and pushing, it's considered cheiris. It's considered yad chazaka. He says machuven b'masha nester Aliyah meruba. The whole spirit of the rule, not to go up with the mass immigration, kechoyma hu im oilim b'derech cheiris. That's if they go with an independent, free style, yachad. Together, loiki yachiyim she'olim b'derech geiris, and not like a bunch of individuals who are just going up as strangers in the land. Uklal, okay, so comes out that it doesn't depend on the number of people. So again, back to Siman Yud, where we had the question of how many people is considered chayma. Is it Roiv, Klal Yisrael, or is it only a large group? Now he's saying a different word. It has nothing to do with how many people are in the group. It has to do with how you go. If you're going, you could go with 100 people, but if you're going to take over the country, that's called Biyad Chazaka. Even if you're not doing with war, you're walking in to take over the country, Yad Chazaka.
So what Tzviher's Kal should believe, you just sell Eretz Yisrael without any war, without independence, just move to Eretz Yisrael. Was he being over in the Shua?
No, because he's going there under the Turks, and he's going to live under them, and as Gerim, as strangers in the land.
Right, because Tzviher's Kal clearly said, we just move to Eretz Yisrael, but don't make any rebellions or any war.
That this word chayma is a very general term. Hidden term, but he means general, because you see what he's about to say. It includes within it kol masha oisim linchok case, any type of action that's done to force the end of exile. So in other words, so everything is considered that. So it doesn't matter whether it's in Eretz Yisrael, outside Eretz Yisrael, any kind of movement to force the end of Galus is included in Chayma. So Ebazoi, that's the point that he's making, that now the Chikas Akates doesn't add anything. once you have chayma, you have everything. You don't need the chikas case. So Rashi had to say that it means davening too much. Okay?
Yeah.
V'shuvis poinanti. Afterwards, I looked back and I saw that kirayon zeh, that this idea, this is what I'm saying now, that the chayma includes everything, is mevur b'divrei kadshay shel kedusha zikni hayismach Moshe. That this is already stated in the Yismach Moshe that he brought down. By the way, he brought it down in Siman Chav Ches already. This Yismach Moshe, but he's going to bring it again now. Al shir shirim b'pasuk yishbati eschem shehiksha. That the Yismach Moshe asked Al Amram Zal Yishbiya Kodesh Baruch Hu Yisrael Shelo Yidchuku Akates Shehu Meshulo Havana. The Yismach Moshe says that we don't understand what the shvu is about. Mahu dechikas akates. What is forcing the end? The Ha'amar Acher Kach Shelo Yal B'Chayma. That the shvu says afterwards. I don't know why he says afterwards, but in the Gemara it's before. But he says it already says not to go up as a wall. So vice versa, the Yismach Moshe held that includes everything. So what are you saying now? The chikas akates. V'i kefirish Rashi. What are you going to tell me that it's like Rashi says that the chikas akates who shaloi lahafsir b'tefila, not to daven too much. Yoistim midai. Al zeh hiksha. On that the Yismach Moshe asked the mahu agvul. That he says that's even more shver, because what's the gvul? What's the limit to how much you can daven? Kasher takti le'el dvar, like I said before. I brought this whole Yismach Moshe in Siman Chav Ches. Now, that the first kasha he asks, that if once you have chayma, what do you need the chikas akates for? You can't learn that the chikas akates is going on some kind of action that you do, like a false Mashiach or something, like Ben Koziva, B'nai Ephraim, because then that would already be included in the first shvuah. The only option left is Rashi. The koyal tefillas v'tachanunim. That's going on prayer. Since he has a kasha on that also, that's what the maskana of the Yismach Moshe is, the koyal hashba. That's going on when you force the malachim to come down with hashba, with a forced oath on the malachim, like that Yosef Del Lorena person that in the legend.
It's not even a true story.
Hagam shebeferish al Tehillim, in the Yismach Moshe's own commentary on Tehillim, he says a different shot. He says Kaseh bin Nacher. He says that the Shvu Ataka is going on actions, like the Medrash says. Avokan on Uroim Daitoi beHechlet. Here in Shir Shirim we see his opinion is Shekol Peula she'osim b'yadayim al cheres. Any action that you take to force freedom, v'hagula, and the redemption, that's all included in this shvuah. So any false messianic movement, any kind of thing that you do to force the galus to end, is all included in the shvuah of chayma. So he didn't have any way to explain the third shvuah except Rashi or except Tashbah. That what's Takad of Pshat? How could it be that Aliyah b'Chayma includes everything within it? Right? The answer is because the word Chayma is a very unclear word. So it includes all actions. It doesn't just include immigration with a certain number of people. It includes any action, any action to bring the gula. Because the gula is only in the hands of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So now we understand why Rashi was forced into what he said. Even though Rashi knew very well what the Medrash says, that the Chazal say that actions like B'nai Ephraim is considered the Chikas HaKetz, Rashi didn't want to say that pshat. He calls Zekvar Nichla B'Yashua Shlo Yala B'Chayma, because it was already included in the first shvuah. Like the Yismach Moshe's kasha. That's why Rashi had to say a new pshat. That it includes even davening too much. Now we understand why the Ramban spoke about the people in Babel not wanting to go up. He said they didn't want to go up to be doichek haketz. Why didn't he say not to go up a chayma? Right? The Kari Aliyah and B'choim are Lashon Dechikas Akates. Why the Ramban called Dechikas Akates? Ki be'emes chada who it's all the same thing. The Chol Pa'ula Shal Dechikas Akates Nikla B'Shvua Shaloi Alas B'choim. Anything that you do to force the end is already included in Choima. The Havitayma Mishtum Dechikas Akates, because the reason is the same. V'loi Nitzruch L'Shvua Shlishis Ela Shaloi Yidchu is Akates Al Yidei Al Ezeh Pa'ula Sheba Oilam. You don't need the shvua for any action in the world, any worldly physical action. Ki'im only al tfilas v'stachanunim. Firish Rashi Zal. You only need it for tefillah. U'perushan shel advarim ve'agvul ma shenikra tachanunim yoyster midai. That what is taka considered too much davening. Kvar rachti l'mayla. I already explained that before in by Reb Chia Ubanov. It's okay. Okay, now the ko'es. Now I came up with a new explanation. That in other words, he had a problem. What's considered too much, right?
Has Satmar given an official answer yet or not?
What's considered too much?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Chav Tes, his official answer was Reb Chia Ubanov. Too much means.
Why would he use forceful action? He didn't use forceful action.
What are you saying? What?
Or he didn't use forceful action.
Right. So it's like Rashi. He's saying tefillah, too much tefillah is aser. No action. But what's called too much tefillah? I mean, we say tons of tefillahs for the.
But we said that if you knew that you can bring you with your tefillah.
The ko'es near lefi anis daiti she'ulai efshel afarish divrei Rashi zal kipshutan. That we can learn Rashi kipshutan like in a simple way. The ko'yal kol echad ve'echad shalei laharbos b'tachanunim yoyster midai. That any single Jew should not be davening too much. V'haya gvula davar. There was some kind of limit to what's called too much. Ad kama mutter lispal agvula. How much is allowed to? Umad kasha tuva shalei biru agvul. The kasha that we had that nobody explained what's too much. The Gemara never said, the Rishonim never said, the Poskim never said what's too much. That on the contrary, we find that Chazal and the Rishonim, the Paitanim, made up lots of tefillas to say about the Gula, right? All the slichas and all the.
Yeah, some Zionists say until we ourselves move back to Eretz Yisrael, our tefillas are useless. They only anger Hashem. It's like somebody who never paid back his loan, that begging the lender to remember the doctor.
They said that the chikas akates means to be a nudnik, to daven too much and not do anything about it, right?
Yeah, that's how I interpret it.
Anyway,
but we're saying, Hashem, we owe you a loan. We're begging you, to tear apart, the loan doctor. We never pay back the actual loan.
The kitzur, so el adraba tiknu tefillas from rubais. We see that Chazal and the Paitanim made lots of tefillas. B'chol adoyres al gula b'li gvul b'kitzva. We see there's no end to it.
A lot skip them, but many of these piyutim are on the gula. Although many shall skip them.
In the Musaf, you mean after the avodah, right after the avodah, there's a whole long section that many shall skip. Yeah. Okay, so they made up a lot of tefillas, b'li gvul b'kitzva, kol mash te'efsher. Anything that you can do, as much as you can, you should daven for the gula. The question is why. So ulai yesh lamer dehinei kvar nisbar she'en shvuas elu shel dechikas haket tluyim klal b'shvuas umais. That we said in Siman and Hey that the shvuas are not dependent on each other.
Now the contrary, if break there, could break theirs because
not could, but they're going to.
Going to, because we all know that if a Jew swears to a guy swears to a Jew keeps a lot the guy.
Okay, but the Siman and Hey, Ein Sham.
Yeah.
The kid said that, but what he's going to say now is that, in a certain extent, as far as the tefillah is concerned, it is going to be tali zebazeh, like the Reb Shlomo Kluger. Remember the Reb Shlomo Kluger and the Hillel Mikol Amaya?
Yeah.
So you're going to say like them now. He says that kvar nisbar she'en shvuas elu shel tchikas haket tluyim klal b'shvuas umais. The umais kvar avru al shvuasam. That throughout history, the nations have been over on their shvuah. The midim meruba vatzuma, they've gone overboard on this. Adein shir ve'erech, to a tremendous extent. V'lashon ha'gemara b'ksubas hu shehishpia ha'umay shelo yishtabdu bohem b'Yisrael yoyster midai. That the lashon ha'gemara was that they shouldn't subjugate us too much. The lashon ha'medrash rabbah b'shir shirim hu shelo yakshu oil al Yisrael. They shouldn't increase their yoke, charge too much tax.
And besides,
aval oid b'churban ba'is rishon. But even From the very beginning, even back in the times of Churban Bayis Rishon, Begalos Bavla Rasha, Asu Masha Asu. They already did more than the oath, more than what they were supposed to. Every generation they come to destroy us. If they would be interdependent, then there wouldn't have been such a machlokes about whether it's allowed to go up from Bavel. They wouldn't have argued about this halacha of going up from Bavel, because the goyim already transgressed their shvua. I proved this before, the Tamad Varim move on. The reason taka why is it not interdependent? Because it's not like two people who made an agreement to each other. That one's totally on the other. That our oath has a different reason. It has nothing to do with the goyim. Has revealed and hidden reasons. Not to end the galus before the time. Anybody who thinks that they can end it before the time is Rahman Litzlan, it's apikorsis. That the words of the Yefei Kol he brought earlier in the same Siman, he brought that the Yefei Kol says on the Medrash, the Kivin the Kamakrai Muchi Shelo Yiyeh Zeh Ela Aidei Melech HaMashiach. Since many psukim prove that the Geula will happen through Mashiach, if someone wants to do the Geula before Mashiach, that's like against Emunah. That in the same Medrash, the Chazal say on the Bnei Ephraim, they didn't believe in God. And in Siman Chaf Hey, he brought down that the Yefei Kol asks him that. What do you mean they didn't believe in Hashem? They didn't believe. They believed, but they just thought it was the end, right? They calculated the 400 years from the Bris Ben Psarim. The answer is that since they didn't wait for a Siman from Hashem, they didn't wait for the Nevuah to come. That's why they were Lo Haminu Belokim. Ukvar Rachti Bozev Yisbar Oy Lahalon. Rambam Kasa Bigeres Teman. That the reason for the shvua is because any movement to be over on the shvua would bring great danger upon the Jewish people. The Rambam says that Hashem knew, Shlomo Melech knew Baruch HaKodesh, that this nation will try to get out of Galus before its time. They're going to perish because of this. So that's why he made the oath.
Yeah, like the Zionists say that you should move from France to Israel, but because France made dangerous sections, but Israel has loads of dangerous sections too. In fact, half of Yerushalayim is Arab and Jews can't go in. Half of Yerushalayim.
Ram Galanti. He brought in Siman Ein Hey. The Ram Galanti was the one who said in Portugal they had a Havamim to take over the country, and they asked with a dream, and they shalai they shame, and the answer was Hishpati Eschem. Right? She'atakti leil kasev shenichnasim bazel l'reshus harabim shel lilis hu ben zuga samach mem v'ayin sarim. That anybody who is over on the shvua is subject to these shadim. All these types of things to gather in the galus before its time. It's only Hashem that's going to do it. It wasn't given over to any human. That it's just a great danger to touch this at all before Hashem brings Mashiach. Okay? Can move on. This is understood by anybody who learns Chazal. All the Sfarim in the world. That's besides many other hidden reasons that are there.
Jews vice versa. They like say if you get all the Chazal, you'll find that you should bring go quickly.
There's no nafkamina that the goyim were over on their shvua. Masha umois davar al shvua. Dechi b'shvil she'avru heim al shvua. Hu techas v'shalom lasos davar or echatzi davar sheyesh boi minus ekvira. That is it possible that because they were over on their shvua, we should be allowed to do something that's against the Torah? Not because of an agreement with them. Ushar sakanas rachmana v'tzlan. any other sakanas that are violation of the shul will bring. But if they're going to go overboard and they're going to make persecutions and kill Yidden, then for sure we need to have Hashem's mercy, and we can't just take our own actions. We need more rachmanis, right? To go rely on Hashem, not to do something that's a contradiction to Amunah. Things there are reasons why this is against Hashem's will. But with all this said and done, there is one thing that it could be tali zevazeh, and that is the tefillah part. That's what he's going to say now. That davening too much can't be apikosis, because davening is believing in Hashem, right?
Of course, the davening implies the in Hashem. The more you daven,
it's even more amunah. You believe even stronger. You don't do any action. So what's the problem? So gam b'chashash sakana, and Lagabi, what the Rambam says that is a sakana, says no, that's not a problem either. Kivan she'ein mevakshim el mimenu yisbarach shemoy. We're only asking him to do it. So nothing bad will come from Hashem. Hashem will decide when it's safe to do it. For to daven to Hashem, who is the source of good, he only wants to do good to us. He knows what's good for us. So he'll do what's good in his eyes. It won't be a sakana. So what's the reason why davening too much is aser? That it really could be that it is dependent on the shvuas umais. That what? That kolzman the goyim keep their end of the bargain, and that they just do what they're supposed to do, that they have us in their lands and they charge taxes, the same taxes they charge everybody else, maybe a little more, but not too much, right? Then gzeres agalus v'lo yoyser, they just keep galus, they just keep the gzeres agalus on us. Then loy rotzach baruch hu sheyarbu b'tachanunim. Then Hashem didn't want us to go overboard and daven too much.
We're really good in the land.
What?
We shouldn't act as if we're having so much sorrow when we're the guy good to us.
Yeah, but even if we don't say in our tefillas that we're having tzaras, even if we say in our tefillas, please bring us back to Eretz Yisrael, and we say it 100 times in 100 different ways, that's not good, because we're davening too much when the gzeir of the galus is being niskaim the way it's supposed to be niskaim. Aval, wait a second. Because the gzeir is from him. Maybe the guy meant for bad, but Hashem meant it for good. But when they go overboard and they do too much, because they have bechira, right? Hashem never takes away anybody's bechira. And they do too much evil stuff to us. Then we have to daven to Hashem. To our last strength, we have to daven. That's what saved us in the past.
But it didn't say that we were allowed to fight back. We should have fought back.
Right, not fighting, just davening. And the pshat in this is, like we said in this when we're talking in Siman Hey, brought down Kahana and his quote, and then there's a medrash there that says that if the goyim are maksha oil al Yisrael, they're goyim in the kates lavai shalebi onasai. They cause the kates to come before its time. And the pshat is because if the galus is going too fast and too harsh, then it's going to end quicker, right? So then we're allowed to daven. We're saying the gzeres galus is not serving any purpose anymore. It's getting overboard. It's getting to be too much. Then we're allowed to daven for that. Now we could say that today, since the Ummais were over on their Shvuah many times over, now there's no more Isser to daven too much. Befrat acher churban b'Hasheni, especially after the second base of Mikdash was destroyed. Shehirbu lahara be'achzarias ne'ra. That we know what Titus did, and we know what Hadrian did in the city of Beitar and everything. All the things described in the Gemara and Gittin. We know it's too much now. Now it's mutter the daven. Umashe eviu beGemara im oisa gam oisa shvua shalei yarbu b'tachanunim. So why does the Gemara taka bring down the shvua? Yois midai. The fear Pirush Rashi zal af shekvar batel. The shvua is already batel. Umay hava. It's already just history. Mikomakom eviu zeh al derech shomer beGemara yuma daf hey. Amud base. The Gemara in Yuma says ketzam avishan. How do they put on the begadim on the kohen gadol? So the Gemara asks, "My hava. What are you explaining such a thing that had Moshe Rabbeinu put on the begadim by the miluim? It's never going to happen again. It's a one time in history." Masik, and the Gemara comes out, Ketzad Hil Bishan. How did Moshe Rabbeinu put on the clothes on Aaron? Well, Misbakrai, just to explain the psukim, right? Even though there's no difference for us today, and it's just past history. The Gemara is allowed to ask questions to explain the psukim. And that's taka the reason why they brought this third shvua, because we have to understand the pasuk of Shalo Yichukis the Kates, right? Why are there 3 shuas? But for practical halacha, there's no relevance today. Because the goyim already went overboard. Now we understand why we never find anybody saying halacha. What's too much? Why? Because kila halacha lemaisa ain't nafkamina oid bazeh. Doesn't make a difference anymore.
We're already over and they're already persecuting us regardless. Right. But again, only tefillah, not forceful action.
Right. Umayda hava, and therefore what happened then, and it's not important to go into the shir. Well, the Mizbar cry, just to explain the psukim, it's enough that the Gemara just mentioned the shvua avalei nachis the shiura without going into the exact details of how much is too much.
And Lubavitch Shea just keeps saying Ad Masai. The more you say Ad Masai, the more you're Mashiach.
According to this, it's going to be mutter.
Yeah, Ad Masai, yeah.
V'ein zeh doima l'mad pligi b'gemara b'halacha shel Aliyah l'Eretz Yisrael. That this is not similar to the actions. Like the Gemara has a machlokes Rabbi Yehuda against Reb Zeira about going up to Eretz Yisrael. Shetali b'pirusha de'elu hashvuos, which depends on what the shvuos mean. Ki Aliyah l'Eretz Yisrael hi davar na'aseh b'peula, because it's an action. Going to Eretz Yisrael even by yourself is an action. So that does depend on the shvuos. That whenever you take any kind of action, even the smallest one, even an individual Jew going to Eretz Yisrael, that's already an action. So you have to know if it's mutter or aser. That doesn't depend anymore on what the goyim do. That's the Maharal who says that it's Yihar Gal Yavra. Ram Galanti she'af b'shah she'umois chashasham memisin b'misois kashas u'metshunis. That by the Portuguese Inquisition, that when the goyim are killing Jews with terrible torture, still the shvuos take effect, that you can't go against them. That because of what the goyim do, it's only mutter, only to daven. But the appears now that we said this, that any tefillah is included, so now we don't have to say it's only Reb Chia and the sons, or any kind of strange type of tefillah like that. It's any tefillah, anybody's tefillah is included. So it fits a lot better into Rashi. Shekos of Stam, Rashi just says Stam without any explanations. That you don't have to stick into Rashi some unlikely pshat, the koirak al derech hashbois that's going on to force the malachim to do something, or like my pshat and chavtes is going on in Chia, the koi al tefillah kshur kirabchiu banav, omnam kivin the chazin and go'ini kadmoy. Oh, but now this is what you could say. You could say that it's going in any kind of tefillah, but now it's batal. Oh, but since Omnam, Kivin the Chazin and Go'ainik Hadmoy, we see that great Go'ainim, Hayismach Moshe, v'chasam sofer. The loy nichaluhu lefarish divrei Rashi zal kipshutan. That they didn't want to learn this pshat, that it's going on any kind of tefillah, and it's just mutter nowadays because of the goyim being over on theirs, right? So, near the loy nichaluhu leklal lefarish gam loysa shvua shel tefillah shetali b'shvuas imois. They didn't want to say this pshat that the shvua of davening too much depends on the goyim. They hold even the davening too much. Even for that, it's not similar to agreement between two people. The Hakadosh Baruch Hu put on us a shvua. It's not a shvua to the goyim; it's a shvua to Hashem, and we don't know the reason why He would do it. That's why the Chasam Sofer and the Yismach Moshe had to learn to koy al derech hashbois. It's going on the malachim, v'chadoyme, shezeh oster gam achshav. That's oster even today, even though the goyim were over on theirs. But just to daven, that was never oster to begin with. Uladina ein nafkamina. So whether you say like my pshat or you say like this the Yismach Moshe and the Chasam Sofer, there's no nafkamina anyway because according to all explanations, tefillah bilvad with Hashem is barachuter along the b'doreinu. Just to daven is mutter. Aliyah and kitzvah as much as you want. The adrabah halvai.
They think the rebbe shir is a problem, but they keep saying I must say it's definitely not a problem.
Right. The adrabah halvai sheis pal adam kol hayoim. It's better to daven too much. If you could daven as much as you want. Just to do an action called the who neged elu hashvuos zevada yister noyer v'ayim l'chol. That's also according to everybody. Now, weiter, we're still going in the Tefus Sheni here of the Yismach Moshe. He didn't have this in the Tefus Rishon. That they showed him between 1959 and 1960. They showed him this. Maisi de Yoitzer, the Reb Shlomo Kluger, Al Agadah mi Agoin Marshak mi Brodizal, the Piska de Ve'eslach at Seinu Zed Chak, Shekatz Sham, Drushim Al Agadah. If you want to see it inside, we had it in the Marvin Koyman sheets a few weeks ago in Siman Haste. So take a look there. Anyway, so he says Drushim Al Agadah Kedarkoi Ve'emtza Drush. Hishtamish Bozeh Shelo Hayu Yisrael Ru'uyim Legula Oz. That at that time in Mitzrayim, when the Jews got out of Mitzrayim, they weren't roy for it. They weren't worthy of it. Because they davened a lot to Hashem, they were redeemed after 210 years before the 400 was up. But that's too much davening. According to Rashi, it's also the daven too much. Since the Mitzrayim did too much, so Huta Gam Lahem, there was mutter for the Jews. Yeah, we had it before. This fits in with what I said. That we could learn Pshat and Rashi the Gam Stam Tefillah Uzaka Harbe Haya B'Chlal Ister Ashua. That anything is included, even the lowest level of Tefillah is included. Even not Reb Chiya Banav is included in the Isser. Terem she'avru hashvuos hu mosal shvuasam. Before they transgressed their oath, but once they transgressed their oath, then it became mutter for us to daven. We see that the Yismach Moshe and the Chasam Sofer didn't hold of this pshat. Even on the etzem thing, he says the Easter Bekrav that they prayed to Hashem and Hashem listened. Since the Gula came as a result, so the Reb Shlomo Kluger wants to say that's a proof that this was too much. Yeah? Ein loy makor. He says that has no source, because who said just because Hashem listened to the tefillah, who says that means it was too much tefillah? Maybe it was a little bit of tefillah and Hashem listened to it. He wanted to listen to it. Sometimes you have a time when it's an Eis Ratzon and he's kabbalah tefillah and the tefillah gets accepted. Even if it's not too much. Short tefillah also. V'Yerushalmi Perek Aleph the Tainus Isa mitoich chamisha dvarim nigalo Yisrael mitzrayim. Says furthermore, it could be there were other reasons why the Gula came then. The Yerushalmi says 5 reasons. Mitoich HaKetz, that the time came. Mitoich Tzara, the time I guess means like 400 years from Yitzchak's birth. And Mitoich Tzara.
The actual Shib was 86 years.
Right. And Mitoich Tzara, mitoich tzvacha, and that's the davening that he's talking about. Mitoich schus avos, mitoich tshuva. V'lamad kulam mikra. The Yerushalmi learns them all out from Sukkim. U'tzvacha nilma mikra anal. The tzvacha, the davening, is learned out from the pasuk Vayishma Elokim is not kasam. V'arei the kamen yanim u'schusim ha yishasi u'lis kabel tfilasam. That it wasn't just the tefillah. It was a lot of other things too that contributed to the fact that they were answered. V'kasiv sham b'Yerushalmi shegam lo asiti agula idei chamisha dvar moelu. Shalmi says that in the future the Mashiach is going to come also through these 5 things. Shahayi b'Mitzrayim, v'lamed kol zeh mikrai, v'al kapanim ein shum makar, loymar shetfila zu haise yoister midai. We don't see that the Jews davening in Mitzrayim was too much. V'hu b'chlal eser hashvush niztarak levakish heter, that we should have to come on to Terutzim to explain why they were allowed to. B'shvil sham Mitzrayim avru al shvuasam. U've'emes loy kasev zeh amar shakel b'derech drush. The Marashak only says this. He doesn't say la halach l'maisa. He just says it b'derech drush k'derech hadarshanim hamachadshim perushim shonim. That a lot of times people say different pshatim and things just for a drasha. B'derech agada afi meinim la halacha klal. Even though they're not la halacha, hadrasha tidrash ve'ein meshivin al hadrush. You can't slug up someone's drush because it doesn't have to be la halacha. That was the part, by the way, that Menachem Kasher quoted from these 2 lines. He said that the Rebbe is just dispensing with the Marashak with a couple of words like this, but really he doesn't. He has a whole Siman here, a whole 2-3 pages where he explains that tefillah is not the same as actions. That the Marashak doesn't say this pshat. He says Ella. He says it only l'neged oyster shvur shaloi laharvas b'tefillah. Shalagav tefillah yesh mitzias loy markein. Only for tefillah you could say that it's tali. Lefi perushi shagam tefillah gazu aser. That any tefillah, even the smallest tefillah, could be aser. Avalasa is ezu pu'ula koldehu, but to take an action lo yala al das shum adam me'olam lahatir chas v'shalom. No poisik, no writer ever was matir such a thing. No rishon, no achron. What?
Matir what?
To do an action.
Yeah, action, right. They always had tefillah. Every one of these is a tefillah.
Kasher herachti b'rayas atzumois midivrei chachamenu zal v'harishonim v'les man depolig. And there's no one who argues. Gam be'oisei adrush hanal shekosiv tam heter atfila b'shvil she'avru al mitzriyim al shvuasam. Even the vort that the Marashak, the Reb Shlomo Kluger, says that the Mitzrayim were over on their shvua first. Hevi shenen shu b'nei Ephraim. He himself brings that the b'nei Ephraim were punished for that. So in other words, even though he's saying that the Mitzrayim went overboard, you see it wasn't a heter for the b'nei Ephraim to do an action, right? Even though by the time when the Bnei Ephraim went out, when they went out 30 years before the Galus ended, but by that time the Mitzrayim had already done too much. They already did. They made their lives bitter. And by the end of the Galus, when Moshe came, so they weren't allowed to just go out with Moshe. So that they had to go ask to see if Moshe is the real redeemer. They said, he's saying Pakadati, what's the password? And they went to Serach Bas Asher, Shenimser lost Agula, that she had this secret with her.
And no extensive miracle.
No what?
No miracle. It seems like a miracle.
But even the miracles that Moshe did with the stick,
I'm saying,
the snake, that didn't convince them, right? Even the Rabbi Shlomo Kluger himself, within his words, he shows clearly the difference. B'nei Ephraim asu pu'ula, the difference between action and tefillah, because B'nei Ephraim did an action, right? Sheyatzu min hagalos, and that was aser even after the Mitzrayim were over on their shvua. If there's an action, you can't do it. You can't take it into your own hands and think you're smarter than Hashem. It's only by tefillah that the Reb Shlomo Kluger gives a heter. That even in that of tefillah, even that the Chassam Sofer and the Yismach Moshe don't agree. Medrash Rabbah Seder Mitzayra, Parsha Yud Tes Siman Vav Al Akra Imru Lenim Harei Leiv. The pasuk says in Yeshaya, say to those who are in a hurry in their hearts. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Amar Kagoin Elu Shedoich Kines Haketz. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says it's going on people who forced the end.
Where is this? What Medrash is it?
Medrash Rabbah Mitzayra Yud Tes Vav.
Sure.
So he says that Rabbi Shua ben Levi says this pasuk is referring to people who forced the end. The Tama HaYafei Soyar, the same author as the Yafei Kol, the Yafei Soyar, he says, Sham Haloi Eile Rishayim Heim. People who forced the end are Rishayim. Shakadosh Baruch Hu Hishbiyas Yisrael Shalai Yidchu Kisaketz. Yeah, and so why does the pasuk say nothing about how wicked these people are? It says Stam Imru Nimari Lev. Take a look. I have it here. The pasuk in Yeshaya. It's on the 4th page of my Makoimus sheets. Imru say to Nimari Lev Chizku al Tiro. Be strong. Do not fear. Hinei Elokechem Nakom Yavai. Hashem will come and will take revenge on the nations who persecuted you. And Gemul Elokim Hu Yavai v'Yoshiachem. He'll come and he'll redeem you. So, what do we see from this? That the pasuk doesn't say anything bad about these people. It just says, Imru Nimar Lev, Chizku, have strength, Al Tiro, don't be afraid. It sounds like these people are not so bad. So, in fact, the Yafei Soyar, that what's the pshat? These people are being over on the Shvuah. Kodesh Baruch Hu is mashpia Yisrael, not to be doichek haketz. So he says, the Tiritz, he answers, she'ein doichekin b'pu'ulos, that these people are not doing actions, ela b'tfilah v'sachanunim, they're just doing prayer. V'afal pi, she'Rashi, I affect the Yafei Soyar, Rashi says, pir shelo yidchuchu shelo yarbu b'tachanunim, ein nira kein medivrei Chazal. He says that he disagrees with Rashi. He says Chazal don't hold like this Rashi. Because Chazal say, Chazal say that these are the places in history when the people were doichek kates, and they say Bnei Ephraim and Ben Koziva, action type things, not davening, right? So that's how he just dismisses Rashi. V'gam misvara, he says even misvara, it's also not logical to say like Rashi. He says Nir she'ein ister meharbos b'tachanunim shahariyonim mispalim tamid al gula. He says we daven all the time. We don't have any problem with it. Ad kan devar v'ayin sham. Hinei hechlit sha'adoichkin saketz bepu'ula r'shayim heim. We see the same Yafei Soyar who says that davening too much, that actions, taking action for the gula is r'shayim. People who do that are r'shayim. V'loy matzah shum teretz. And he had no other way to learn this medrash. The medrash learns the pasuk this way. El laharbos b'tfilu v'sachanunim. That the people who are nimharei leiv are people who are praying too much. El shemachmas doichet kushyasoy b'masha kasav Rashi zal shaloi larbas b'tachanunim dachat divrei Rashi. That because he has a problem with Rashi, he rejects Rashi, and he says the people are being marba b'tachanunim. Okay, so you see a few things from this. So he says we already went on at length levar das Rashi to explain that Rashi is not shver, because the question was, like, we daven so much for the gula. The answer is either because today it's mutter because they were over on theirs, or because it's only b'chiyu banov type of tefillah. Al Kaponim, we already explained Rashi. Levar das Rashi zal utehila l'Hashem yisborach. Thank God, Taritz Nadvar. We explained his reasons. Zal b'kushta with a troop shot. The ein shum maniya l'didan l'harbos b'tefillah v'stachanunim. And we don't have a problem davening too much. After l'fi divrei Rashi zal. Uve'emes masha amru b'medrash lashon techikas haketz al masha amru akasav l'nimhari leiv. So now back to the kasha of the Yafei Soyar. Then, if I'm going to say like this, the Rashi's pshat is correct. That davening too much like Reb Chia is aser, but davening like us is mutter. So then, who are these people who are nimhari leiv? What are they doing wrong? They're being doichek haketz. How are they being doichek haketz? If they're doing actions, rishayim heim. If they're not doing actions, they're not being doichek haketz. So what are they doing? Right? So he says, Masha Omer b'medj lashon yitzchikas haketz al Masha Omer nimhari leiv hinei b'lashon hakasiv nimhari leiv mevur de beliba talya milsa. We see from the words nimhari leiv that in their hearts they're hurried. Is the pshat is that they're not actions. They're not doing actions. They're doing something that's in the heart. Ve'oisten shalibam doichekam. Those people, their hearts are pushing them. Umemarim lasim. Lasum el libam lishpoich leiv v'nefesh. They daven a lot because they think about it a lot, and they pour out their hearts. B'yishtoikekus nimratza lifnei ayodei talumos le'oyeres o'ava, and they try to awaken the love with the karvesagula. Right, that's the case of nimhari leiv. So basically, he's agreeing with the Yafei Soyar that that's what it's talking about, and he's just saying that's not what Rashi meant. Rashi meant people who. That is what Rashi meant. Rashi meant people who daven too much, and whatever that too much is, that's what Rashi meant. So he's agreeing with the Yefei Sayar that the Medrash means people who daven too much. But he's just saying that Rashi asks that, but not the regular tefillah. Okay. Not to do any action, chas v'shalom, v'im himotzei si motzei. And now the Rebbe says a final word of caution here, that if you find, let's say the Zionists do a little research and they have the Oitzer Chachma and they dig up with the computer someplace in some writer who says Be'eza Achroin, some Achroin writes Sha'ala al Ruchai Lafi Riyata, that he says in some way Listlai Shvua Zu B'Shvua Se'umais, like they found the Marshak already, right? So maybe they'll find somebody else, they'll find Reb Hillel Mikolamaya, right? They'll find somebody else who says it. Eino Yala B'Oisa Shvua, it's only regarding that oath, Shal Tfilos V'Sachanunim, only regarding the oath of davening
which
too much.
Which Zionists make fun of anyways, because Zionists consider tefillah to be a naive thing.
But we don't have to come on to that teretz kasher kasavti v'alvayshis palakol ayoim, that really even davening too much is mutter without this heter of the tliyas hashvuos. There's no one who could say such a thing that we could be mekel chas v'shalom kasher achachti b'rayis bruos atzumais v'les man depolig. There's no one who argues on that. Ukvar evesi divrei amaral ve'amar Ron Galanti that not only if the goyim are over on their shvua, you're not allowed to be over on yours, but even if they do torture, Rahman litzlan uvinuim kashim Hashem yishmereinu gam is aster lavor al shvua. Even then, it's aster v'hubi harg v'al yavor she'eno tali klal b'shvua silumais. It has nothing to do with their oath. V'gam mibalade isra shvua gesh b'zeh minus ekvira. Even without an oath, it's minus ekvira. Rahman litzlan el Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu hitiv al zeh chomer ha'onesh shel shvua. He just added on an extra oynish with the shvua. Even though the shvua is not really a shvua, but because of the severity of the thing, he added on the shvua, because it's a terrible severity. So who will not be afraid to permit oneself to do any kind of action called the hubazeh? Only a complete heretic would be matir.
When you know one thing,
that he doesn't pay attention to the words of Hashem and amarim b'kroi that are written in the psukim u'v'divrei chazal v'rishonim. Hashem yisbarach yirachim shaloi nilached chas v'shalom. We shouldn't get caught b'shchisoisam v'yotziyenu b'mheira me'afil lo'ira. He should redeem us quickly from darkness to light. Yeah, what?
The Aaron Cutler does say that it's usher to turn to Rishayim to save one's life even.
Mm-hmm.
So you see that they're Rishayim as this, so don't feel we're saving our lives. Because it's usher to even turn to Rishayim to save lives.
Yeah, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's usher to use a volazor to heal oneself. And one is required Aliyah to say any truth about Rishayim. So I guess the same thing. Now
back to the Tfus Rishon, the question that the Rebbe asked in the first Siman that we've been waiting all this time for an answer for, that Lama Amar Rav Yehuda Ha'olim Mibavel Eretz Yisrael Oiver Ba'asei. Why does it say that anybody who goes up to Eretz Yisrael is being over on a positive command that it says Bavel Yuvav V'Shama Yiyu? V'Loi Amar Oiver B'Shvua. And the Gemara comes out that that's going on the Kalim, right? And the Gemara says that it's going. Only the Kalim are not allowed to come back to Eretz Yisrael, but the people, it doesn't say it, right? So the Gemara says it's really a shvua. So once it's a shvua, then the Gemara should have said Oiber b'shvua. Well, the shvua is more chamer. Even if you're going to say that, like he says, the Rif and Ein Yaakov says that the shvua is coming to touch up what Aliyah, what the Bavel Yuvav means, what the Oiber Basei means, but still we should stress the more severe thing. So the teretz is the kivin shlis bar shemeikar halacha ein hashvua chala al doris asidim, that we said based on the halachas of nadarim and shvuas that a shvua can't be chal in future generations. That the reason why that the lashon shvua was said was to make a bigger punishment. Really, the thing is aser anyway because it's kfir, and the shvua is just coming to add on punishments. K'moy shvua, like a punishment like an oath. That we have, the shvua has more severe types of punishments, that it comes on the whole world, and it comes right away, it doesn't delay. So lachein kasav Rambam zal shehu derech mashal. That's why the Rambam says that the shvua is only a mashal. So lachein bachar yoiser loy mer oiver basei. That's why Rav Yehuda chose to use the words oiver basei. That asay, that positive command is a real halacha. That's not just a shvua. Rabbi Yehuda is not coming there to speak about the Onshim. If he would have wanted to speak about Onshim, he would have said the shvua. But he didn't come to speak about the Onshim. He just came to speak about the Isser. So he says, he just came to talk about what you're over in halacha.